สวัสดีค่ะ and welcome back once again, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before we are going to begin the session, I would like to make a small announcement for all of your participants to be knowing about the activities that we are going to be having in this today and also the 3 days event. For your information, we have the daily Kahoot game session. If you already know, that will be held during the last session of each day from today until the 22nd in Napalai D&E room. From there, the winner will receive exclusive souvenir from TNChE. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't miss the fun. Also, the evening exhibit happy hour that will be happening the May 20, which is today, and also the 21st, starting from 5 until 6:30 at Napalai ABC room or the exhibition hall as well. From there, you can enjoy drinks, snack, and casual networking among all of you with all the exhibitors and fellow attendees in a relaxed atmosphere to just like ending the session day. And also another activity will be the special tutorial session that we would like to invite everyone to be participate in. That will be exclusively for pre-registered participants, and this activity will be supported by PTS Process Technology. This activity will be happening on the May 22nd, starting from 9 until 3 in the afternoon, and the location is Dusit Room 1 room. On this session, we will have Mr. Roger Newnham, Chartered Engineer Technical Director at OnCase Canada, and will be speaking on the topic of enhanced heater operation and improve the efficiency in direct fired heaters and furnaces. And also as well, I would like to remind you that do not forget to download the DMS Universe app to view the full agenda and connect with other participants, and also you can receive real-time event updates. You can scan the QR code on the events poster, or if you are sitting on your desk, there will be a small QR code paper located in front of you. You can use the QR code to download our DMS Universe app. Okay, so right now I would like to welcome everyone back once again to the 4th Thailand International Chemical Engineering and Chemical Technology Conference and Exhibition, also called TNChE Asia 2025. And now I think everyone is about to be ready to begin the plenary session titled Embracing Uncertainty, Unleashing Value in the Evolving Industry Landscape. So I would like to take this advantage to invite Professor Thamrongrat Mungcharan as the chair of this session, please. May I request one big round of applause, please. เรียนเชิญค่ะ
So, welcome everyone to the plenary session of TNChE Asia 2025, and in conjunction with the TNChE 2025. In this session, we will have 3 delegates, speaker from technological policy. Second one will be the research and innovation, and the last one will be on the technological global consulting firms. So let me start with our first speaker. The first speaker is Dr.Surachai Satithkunarat. He is the president of the Office of National Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation Policy Council, or NEXPO. He is also the executive director of APEC Center for Technology Foresight. He played a key role as a senior advisor to the Minister of Higher Education, Science, Research, Innovation of Thailand. He has been a pioneer in utilizing foresight tools for policy formulation both in Thailand and international. On the international landscape, he represent Thailand as the lead negotiator on technology development and technology transfer issue under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC, for more than 15 years. So his title of presentation will be Global Climate Technology and Technology Transfer Mechanism, Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Surachai on the stage.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Thamrong Rat Mungcharan, for introducing me to this conference. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to be here. I'm quite honored to share my information to this conference. As a civil engineer, I'm quite nervous when I stand among friends from area of chemical engineering. So quite a lack of knowledge in chemicals, but just try to apply to my career and my area of interest. Today for 20 minutes, I would like to share some, I guess this is some useful information to you all as the international mechanisms for technology transfer. My talk is global climate technology and technology transfer mechanisms, and represent government agency, Office of National Higher Education, Science Research and Innovation Policy Council, or NXPO, under Ministry of Higher Education, Science Research and Innovation, and also represent the APEC Center for Technology Foresight. My talk consists of 3 parts. I would like to introduce a brief introduction about my office and my roles as a national role. And then I'd like to share some information related to climate technology perspective, and last but not least, technology transfer mechanisms in the global level, in particular under United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC, related to Conference of the Parties or COP negotiation. I would like to start from my office as NXPO, National Policy Office, and also role of NXPO as a national focal point for international technology transfer under UNFCCC as the name of a national designated entity, NDE. I know for this conference, this is a conjunction with academics and also industry. I think this might, the national innovation system might useful for you all. I would like to brief our national innovation system in brief to you. As my office, we serve as the Secretariat of National Higher Education, Science Research and Innovation Policy Council. This is act like a mini cabinet on higher education, university, science research and innovation, including technology for the national level. We also serve as the think tank for Ministry of Higher Education, Science Research and Innovation Policy Council. We serve as the policy, as the secretariat of the Policy Council. If you notice, for the policy level, we work with 2 sides. The right-hand side is Science, Technology, Innovation Committee, namely the National Science, Technology, Innovation Policy Committee. This is the committee who look after the research funding, government research funding every year, approximately $600 million a year. it seemed to quite huge a number of governmental research funding, but in total, if we consider the R&D expenditure as a national level, it accounts approximately 1.16% of GDP. We aim to 2% of the GDP. We want to benchmark to the leading country as maybe 3, 4, or 5, 6% GDP in the near future. On the left-hand side, we work with the Higher Education Commission and the Higher Education Standards Committee. This is a committee as we work with. As the left-hand side, university, higher education, and the right-hand side, science, research, and innovation. And for the funding level, you can see from the middle of this slide. If you notice, we have, in fact, we have funding agencies, but we use keyword program management units or PMU as 9 PMU, 6 under Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research, and Innovation, and the others 3 under other ministry. I would like to invite all of you organization who is interested to receive research funding and innovation. You might apply to these program management units, in particular for PMUC, Program Management Unit for Competitiveness. This is a design for support private sector and industry to have the collaboration with the public sector to research and innovation. If you are interested in this program management unit of an agency, you might search, you might Google, use the PMUC or other PMU. And my office, we act as TNA coordinator. TNA stands for Technology Needs Assessment. This is we want to assess our needs, and we need to report to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, about our needs. This is like the technology policy for Thailand. And we act as the National Designated Entity, or NDE, as a national focal point for technology transfer for Thailand. Again, if you are interested to receive technology from developed country, you might contact us to seeking appropriate technology as you need from international level, with some support from United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change under technology mechanisms. And yes, of course, this is based on our act. We need to support our country as the National Policy Office. This is the framework, like the concept of the global technology transfer under the United Nations. If you notice from this, in international level, sorry, it's quite many words. Under United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC, we have technology transfer mechanism or technology mechanisms. And technology mechanisms establish CTCN, Climate Technology Center and Network. It acts like the global technology transfer with financial support from other sources of fund. And CTCN linked with the national focal point as NDE, National Designated Entity, as the national focal point, as my office has been nominated to act as the NDE for Thailand. And we work with financial mechanism. This is the finance exists in this mechanism. In the international level, it's separate technology mechanism and financial mechanisms. Under financial mechanism, you might you might familiar with many international organizations like World Bank, ADB, or GEF, Global Environment Facility. But the largest one and the newest one fund, namely GCF Green Climate Fund. This fund aim to have approximately $3 billion a year as the developed country pledge to donate to this fund. And the focal point for the Green Climate Fund is Ministry of National Resources and Environment as the National Designated Authority or NDA. And in domestic level, national level, we serve to my ministry, and we work with Department of Climate Change and Environment, the newest department in Thailand to look after climate change in this country. This is the framework as we work under technology transfer. As National Designated Entity or NDE, I would say we have done quite well. We rank as the second rank in the globally for the technology transfer under these mechanisms. And we have many report and policy recommendation from Thailand to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change or UNFCCC. And we have many bilateral networking, and we quite active in the Conference of the Party or COP every year. And this year, the upcoming Conference of the Party, it will be held in Brazil in late of this year. My second topic is about the climate technology perspective. If we notice the trends of the investment in climate technology, you can see for the climate tech venture funding is quite like exponential in growth. From 2013 to 2019, total investment reached to approximately $60 billion, and it will be rising very sharp in graph. And compared to the climate tech startup, it's quite USA and Canada is quite the front, and China is the runner-up. And compared to Europe it might be 1/3 of China. This is, you see, the trend of the climate technology. For key climate technologies, okay, we want to mitigate greenhouse gas. So we try to use the clean technology to reduce greenhouse gas emission. Okay, besides mitigation, we need to take care about the climate adaptation and resilience, but this is not my talk today. Today we focus on mitigation. So the first one, yes, of course, electrification. This is our hope to convert energy to electricity with many technology. This is I think this is the highest in investment. The second one in agriculture. For Thailand, we are agricultural country. So one of the solution for climate technology, it might be a nature-based solution. This is one of our focus. For power grid, this is we need to transfer the power to the destination. It's the many technology inside this power grid technology. Hydrogen. I noticed in this exhibition many countries focus on hydrogen. I think this is a right way to try to cope with the climate change. Even clean hydrogen, this is our destination, final destination. It might not be competitiveness in the financial now, but we need to have some pathway from blue hydrogen, turquoise hydrogen. Maybe in the near future we might reach to clean hydrogen, but it needs a huge investment in clean hydrogen. This is our goal. Last but not least, if we could not use other technology to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, we might need some technology to capture and store or utilization the greenhouse gas or CO2, maybe CCU or CCUS. This is 5 key climate technologies. Besides technology, I think you agree we need to consider, notice, focus in geopolitics, right? This is a climate technology war. Maybe US and China is some good example to us. You might see some significant increasing of non-tariff barriers or tariff barriers. This will be increased in the near future. My last point for this is technology transfer mechanisms. Okay? We need to consider cost of technology, cost of setup, maintenance, and implement, and other types of spending. And for the benefits is not just only technology. We need to consider others issues. For example, social, economics, climate-related, and institution, political issue also. This is quite important for introduce some technology to the ground. This is my last slide. Key barriers and also challenges for climate technology transfer. It might start from economic and financial barriers. We know this is one of the biggest barriers, but I'm quite confident. Industry, private sector, try to cope with this barrier because this is some of the advantage. Some of if industry need to avoid non-tariff barrier, or if private sector want to export some product to other countries, they need to invest in technology. Market and demand barriers. Okay, I think this is quite better than the previous year because this is a demand of the market. Institution and organization barriers. This is a quite lack of coordination among the institution. Technological barriers. Okay, yes, of course. We might have some barriers, but in the international level, they have some mechanism to support, to remove this barrier, as I mentioned earlier about the technology transfer of UNFCCC. Information and awareness barrier is also important. Cultural and behavior barriers. This is quite important for some sector in Thailand. For example, in agricultural sector, our farmer quite have a resistance to adopt the new technology. This is one of our our key issue to consider. For intellectual property rights or IPR and knowledge barrier, this is quite important. Even we support innovation, we want to encourage our researcher to register to IP, but this is might cause of some cost of private sector or implementer. This is quite a dilemma between innovation and practical way. And last but not least, this is my point. I think policy, legal and regulatory barrier is quite very important for us. As an XPO, we try to propose the good policy for the government. We try to propose some amendment. We try to use the regulatory guillotine or regulatory sandbox to reduce the barriers. In my view, for these barriers, I think this activity or this conference or this stakeholder might be one of the might be one of the group to solve these barriers for climate technology transfer. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Surachai. I think he has given us the detailed insight on the global climate technology and also the technology transfer mechanism. I believe that we have about maybe a short of time. We have one or two questions from the floor, if you may have. Anyone? If not, I will have one question, and then after this, I believe that he will be with us during the lunchtime. You can talk to him. I'm from the organization that seek assistance, to go toward zero target, and I would like to have a climate technology assistant. So, are there any database on climate technology available? And secondly, how I start to get assistant, as I mentioned, go to Nexpo or go to the UNCCC. Yes.
For the database, I would like to suggest to access to the database of two sources: Climate Technology Center and Network, CTCN. Google, you can see the database in international level. You can find the fact sheet of any technology in the global level or in each country as the participation in this Climate Technology Center and Network. And other source, I would like to recommend to access to the website of UNFCCC, and you might Google UNFCCC Technology Clearinghouse. You might find some technology, some new technology, and some database. In the national level, as our ministry try to use some database as a research database, NRIS, NRIIS. We use this national database, national platform for 6 years, and we are this is a right timing for my office and my key stakeholder to summarize or to analyze the new technology or new research in Thailand, but this is in progress. For the question of the supporting or receiving a technology transfer from international level, I would like to suggest to contact myself. I will support to link to the international level. Thank you.
Okay. Due to the time limit, I think we have several questions on, from the this scan. We will send it to Dr. Surachai and then he will reply it later on. And if you have more questions, please. So thank you very much, Dr. Surachai. So our second speaker has come far away from Japan. His name is Professor Kenichi Aika. He's a professor of the National Institute of Technology, Numazu College, Japan. Since 2021, he is, until now, he's the principal investigator of the Clean Hydrogen Ammonia Research and Development, Satrep, Japan. And he got several awards, from the Ministry of Education, Science, Culture, Japan, the Japan Catalyst Society Award, the Innovation Research Award, so several awards that he got. His title of presentation today is the key factor for establishing green ammonia industry, aiming carbon dioxide-free fuels world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Kenichi Aika.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the invitation. Now, I sincerely appreciate Professor Vijit Tantapanika-kun, Chairman of Organizing Committee, and Mr. Surachai Charlton, President of the TNChE, for inviting me to this great conference. The world energy and environmental situation are changing rapidly year by year. It is very important to exchange each knowledge internationally at a conference like this. Today, I will present our idea and activities about ammonia, green hydrogen and ammonia. Here, I'm wearing Japanese festival jacket, showing importance of solar ammonia. The first slide shows the content of this presentation. No? Oh, yes. This diagram shows how renewable power, such as solar and wind, is utilized practically. Most of them are utilized as electricity through grid mixing technology with other power sources. Water electrolysis and green ammonia production may owe rather smaller weight. But now, ammonia can be used as CO2-free fuel and must be used in the future. First, we summarize recent trend of renewable energy. 35% of electricity production comes from renewables, ranking first in 2025. But the total fossil fuel is still increasing. Among the renewable power installed in 2025, solar occupies 80% over wind because of economic reasons. China installed 53% of world solar capacity and produces world 83% of solar panels in 24. Demand-supply mismatch is the most problem. Renewable energy. As is shown in left-hand side, world renewables in 2010 occupies 19% among electric power. But now, 35% after 15 years. Total renewables increased 2.6 times. Especially, solar power increased 42 times. Increased solar power comes from Chinese activity. total installed capacity account 530 gigawatts last year, and 53% is in China. Moreover, 83% of world solar panels is produced in China last year. China apparently resulted in overproduction, leading $600 million debt in the major companies last year. At the same time, Chinese solar module costs declined to 10 cents per watt level. But the solar power is not fully utilized. Demand-supply mismatch is the most problem of renewable energy. Left-hand side shows annual number of solar power control incidents in Japan, and right-hand side shows USA connection failure in gigawatt. Both increase every year. One solution is an energy mix technology. At well-developed grid region, atomic power acts as a basic load, renewable act as a main power with supplement of fossil and water power. In Germany and Japan, solar PV is combined with battery at the distribution end. No.
Correct this way.
Okay. Green Power to X is another solution. In urban area where gas pipeline is available, wasted renewable can be turned to hydrogen and e-methane. In industrial area where ammonia tanks are available, wasted power can be turned to hydrogen, e-fuel, or ammonia. In desert area where solar power is strong, green hydrogen and ammonia can be produced as an industrial product. Ammonia, the cheapest, will be used as fuel, fertilizer, and chemicals. We see desert countries are serious about Power to X project. An example is a new 2 billion hydrogen head start funding from Australian government December 2023. Among 6 projects, 5 are ammonia as end use, and 1 is e-fuel. Now we show ammonia value chain movement in Japan. Ammonia combustion technology is a fruit of Japanese national research program. Blue ammonia import has already started, but green ammonia movement is slow. Regional ammonia value chain and infrastructure plan are going on. World Power to X activities stays at demonstration level because renewable power cost is expensive. Now, era is to be opened due to cheap module and new technologies.
So we have some technical problems, we have to wait for a few minutes on that issue.
I have a data in my computer,
I think it is coming. Okay, we post, the QR code. If you have some questions on this, please, start typing your question there.
Yes, sir, I'm returning. Experiment of coal-fired ammonia was carried out at Mitsushima Coal Power Plant Station of 156 megawatt. Here, 1 megawatt sized ammonia flow was fueled with non-increase of NOx. Press release on June 29, 2017, moved electric power companies and the government. Ammonia was recognized as an CO2-free fuel in addition to hydrogen in the energy roadmap in Japan. Last year, JERA Power at Aichi, Japan, started to add 20% of ammonia to coal power plant as the first big case of the world. They even scheduled to add 100% 2040. Red shows ammonia pipeline and tank. Yellow shows combustion furnace. In 2023, Shunan Combinat, Idemitsu, Toso, Tokuyama, Nihonzeon started carbon net zero by using ammonia in their chemical complex. 4 companies planned ammonia coal combustion with coal. Last year, IHI Corporation, PLN Indonesia Power, and fertilizer company Pupuk have announced the successful completion of an ammonia co-firing trial at the Labuan power plant in Java West Coast. Also last year, IHI announced 100% ammonia-powered gas turbine is almost in commercialization. They say N2O and NOx emission were able to be suppressed as planned. In order for green ammonia to be practical, solar power cost at the desert area is a key factor. Desert countries enjoy their strong and steady solar irradiation through the year. They can supply world cheapest solar power. Solar Atlas supplies world geometrical power information. Every country has solar PV business data. Solar power is estimated by using such data. Here, the map shows annual workable hour of standard PV module. Kawasaki in Japan, 1,300 hour means 16% efficiency, while Northcape South Africa shows 2,000 hour, high efficiency of 23%. Average electricity cost is also shown in the Global Solar Atlas information 23. Kawasaki, Japan, 13 cents per kilowatt hour, and Northcape, 5 cents per kilowatt hour are estimated. I would say these data got old. Solar module got cheap these 2 years. We calculated the cost of Kawasaki and Northcape by ourselves. Northcape State opened 3,000 square kilometer area for green hydrogen development. The detailed information is shown in Northcape Economic Development Association Green Hydrogen Master Plan. Here is a seashore area of Northcape State. No dust, sky is clear, and solar irradiation is strong. Rain is scarce all the year, so weather forecasting is easy. South African government decided this area as Hydrogen Valley in their roadmap. Recently, ammonia was added to hydrogen in the roadmap as is shown here. Green hydrogen and ammonia produced at the Northern Cape area is transported to Eastern Industrial Area to convert brown chemicals to green, and of course fertilizer or fuel which would be exported. solar power costs at Kawasaki and Northscape were calculated using solar atlas irradiation data 166 and 267 megawatt per square kilometer, and the Japanese government module data. For Northscape, cheap Chinese panel and small-scale power conditioner is applied. Low install cost of the module for Northscape is due to the high working efficiency. Solar power costs were calculated as 6 cents and 1.5 cents per kilowatt hour for Kawasaki and Northscape, respectively. Kawasaki result 6 cents per kilowatt hour is well suited with 7 cents per kilowatt hour of 23 Japanese government data. Solar Journal applies green power contrast price. This is not Solar Atlas, but Solar Journal, says as a function of irradiation data. 2020, UAE announced the lowest price of 1.35 cents per kilowatt hour. Saudi reported 1 cent per kilowatt hour 21. Now, the real solar power price is such low. These data are well suited with our calculation data, 1.5 cents for Northscape. South Africa can supply the world's cheapest solar power, but just available at daytime, since electrolysis and synthesis units are expensive. Nighttime rest, low running efficiency causes high production costs. Day and night, steady running is extremely important. Energy mix model is going at the civilized area, it's costly, but island model is practical at the desert area as a new technology. What is the island model? We think some size must be considered for industry, but 1 square kilometer size may be practical, starting from sun energy of 2,300 kilowatt hour per square meter per year at Northscape. 49 megawatt is obtained as an average. If 63% of this energy is turned to ammonia, 99 ton ammonia per day might be produced. But we must install large facility working with low efficiency. It costs too much and is technically hard. This is a model of daily solar flow. Sunlight irradiation with 98 megawatt power is just available at the daytime. We assume 5/7 of solar power got in daytime is turned to heat and recovered 40% of them at night through a storm heat recycling system. Since power efficiency from heat is just 40%, 35% of total electricity is wasted to get the flat power. Original 49 megawatt is downsized to 28 megawatt. But we think this is more economical than the everyday start-stop system. This is an example of a storage unit. This system is much less expensive than lithium-ion battery system, 1/10 or 1/5. Now, 28 megawatt flow is obtained day and night. Ammonia production looks reduced to 1/1/7. But the equipment 98 megawatt size gets small to 28 megawatt size. But operation is easy due to non-stop. The production performance increases twice if storage unit is rather negligible. This is an image of downsized unit island model. 100-hectare area supplies 68 ton ammonia per day. as is discussed so far, continuous power flow 28 megawatt is obtained, 100 hectare size. Based on this assumption, yearly ammonia production is calculated as 25 kiloton per year. Total ammonia using commissioned 15 years are 340 kiloton. Capital cost is calculated $128 million for 15 years. Thus, the production cost is just $373 per ton. This means 60 cents per kilowatt hour of ammonia. This is a detail of the cost composition. I skip this. Despite of these restriction of green ammonia cost by the island model, is competitive with other feasibility study. Here, green ammonia cost study by researchers from Institute of Energy Economic Japan is also shown. The result is similar. Solar panel got surprisingly less expensive and spread due to demand response mismatch. Extra infrastructure got necessary at urban area. In desert area, solar power got cheap, such as 1.5 cents per kilowatt hour. But the energy comes intermittently. To overcome this situation, a part of day energy is transferred to stone heat storage technology, and continuous flow is supplied, independent from market power. Steady hydrogen and ammonia production cuts the cost. Feasibility study of green ammonia production shows the cost is competitive with the prevailing fuels. Thank you for your attention.
So thank you very much, Professor Aika. I think that the last line has mentioned about the competitiveness of this green ammonia industry in the near future. I believe that there are several questions, on the slide, but I will, ask the only one question for you, and then the rest you can answer later on. In terms of the cost, how many times more expensive is green ammonia compared to blue ammonia and solar?
So far, blue ammonia need to put CO2 in the earth. And the production cost is much the same as the brown ammonia. And the average cost is $400 per ton, but sometimes $1,000 per ton. So $370 per ton of green ammonia is competitive. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I'm very sorry for the technical problems. Okay, Pete, also give a big loud approach to Professor Aika. Okay, now we will have our third plenary speaker. He is Mr.Kshitij. He is the associate partner of McKinsey and Company. He has been in the region, head the downstream services in Southeast Asia for more than 9 years. And as you may know, that McKinsey and Company is very famous global management consulting firm. So today he will share with us the title of presentation on embracing uncertainty, unleashing value in the evolving industry landscape. Please welcome Mr. Kshitij.
Good morning, everyone. Actually, good afternoon. It's a privilege to be here. Apologies, my colleague could not join, so I will cover the presentation. As the introduction was just given, my name is Kshitij, but for whoever it's difficult, KD is also okay with the initials. I lead the downstream service line for McKinsey in Southeast Asia and have been serving clients in Thailand for more than 9 years now. When it comes to this forum, I mean, obviously it's always a bit intimidating to be in such an event with renowned academicians. I'll try my best. And the content that I have is a bit of a different flavor. I'm going to take a bit more of a commercial lens, a bit more of a business lens to what's happening today. And as the topic was shared, it is definitely a very interesting topic, and it is the topic which is top of mind for all CEOs in this sector today, as the industry is going through the current turmoil. So I've tried my best to put some points on this topic, which we'll talk about. Obviously, it's not possible to go comprehensive on such a wide topic, but happy to continue the conversation outside with any of you. So to begin with, let me see if this works. Yes, okay. A bit of context setting, okay. If we look at the TSR, the total shareholder return, the chemical sector is no longer outperforming the market, and we've tracked it back to the last 2 decades. And we break it down into 4 eras. There was the first era, with China as a demand sink, industry consolidation taking place. That's where the chemical sector was able to outperform the overall market average. Era 2, where again we said China as a demand sink and the rise of unconventional feedstocks in North America, which went till about middle of 2019 there again. But it is in era 3 where this is kind of shifting, in era 4 where it is significantly lower than the market average. So we are in an era where the industry performance is not exceeding the overall market average. If you also look at the landscape of the top players, the landscape has significantly shifted over the last 10 years. If we go from left to right, and this is by market cap, and yes, we may argue if market cap is the right metric to look at scale, or is that not the right metric, but let's take market cap as an example over here. If you look at 2013 to 2023, and this data, is we've stopped at 23, can further extrapolate it. But you see that what were the top players has changed in terms of what the top players are by market cap. New players have come in. There are still some that have managed to stay in the top ever since, but there has been a shift that has been happening. So market is also evolving. And that's why we want to talk about why it's important to say, the first part of the topic is, the uncertain environment, the uncertainty that we have. Sorry. Yeah. So the uncertainty, if you break it down, and as I always said, it's not possible to be comprehensive with some parts of what we see as uncertainty. Now, the 4 things that I want to talk about in terms of uncertainty. Number 1, a longer-term down cycle. Now, everyone has read various market outlooks. We have our own also. Nobody has a crystal ball, though, but we all agree that this is perhaps one of the longest down cycles for the market the industry has ever seen. So we are in a massive down cycle driven by overcapacity, new projects in the pipeline, weak demand growth, although it's still growing. The demand is still growing, but there's a weaker demand growth. Asia, especially China, is becoming the largest market. Now it's a change, and so on and so forth. So that's the first part. The industry cycle is itself going through a downturn. Second, to add to that, in the very recent last few weeks, months, we've seen a further escalation of geopolitical tensions. Tariffs coming in, counter tariffs, and this also leads to further uncertainty. I'll share an anecdote of what happened in one of my conversations here in Thailand with one of the clients mentioned over there, wherein we were talking about our outlook for petrochemicals and the flows, and our client immediately pointed out that this will be completely irrelevant if the counter tariffs come in place, because the flows will no longer go to China and come from China, but the flows are going to change. The feedstock will not come from the US, may come from the Middle East, and so on and so forth. So massive uncertainty in terms of planning for those flows for our supply chain. ESG. Also another uncertainty, I think we've all agreed that now the initial euphoria is a bit subdued. Everyone's looking at it with some caution. Financial returns are becoming important on the projects. But here also it is uncertain simply because there's a lot of regulatory driven ESG that is there, and chemicals as a sector, unlike fuels, is not so regional. You cannot just say I'm exposed to a Singapore index. You've got customers globally. You're supplying to Europe, you're exposed to the Europe regulations. You're supplying to North America, you're exposed to regulations there. And these regulations vary, the frameworks vary. And not only do they vary, they're evolving. So that again adds another layer of uncertainty how we plan things. And then last, which is an uncertainty, but with a positive spin as well as an opportunity, is AI. I jokingly said all such forums, you cannot complete a presentation without using the word AI. So we also have it over here, AI, and we'll talk a little more about it in the afternoon. But here is that we see that there is a significant opportunity with AI in terms of the operation side, in terms of the commercial side, product development, new molecules everywhere, and that is going to be what is today a competitive advantage, potentially is going to become table stakes. It is going to be as basic as, yes, every company does have a DCS at a certain scale. It is getting to that level. So we are talking about these kind of uncertainties. In the interest of time, maybe I'll just add color to two of them, maybe the first and the third, and say why we say what this is, right? Now, the following, and this is only for petrochemical. When we talk of chemicals, we normally break it down into petrochemicals, specialty chemicals, agrochemicals. But here, if I just look at petrochemical, we had a peak in 2021, and then we've seen the margins decline ever since. And this has been across the region. So we saw record earnings. I know some people over here also got record bonuses in that year because of that. We had record earnings, we had a great financial result, but then ever since that, we've been seeing a softening market. And it's expected to be this way till the end of the decade. Some even say potentially maybe 2032 is where this could end up. Now, the reason for that, and we always say this, it's not a demand problem, it's a supply problem. Actually, the demand is still increasing. Yes, the growth rate has come down, but demand is still increasing for this with the growth in GDP. But the supply, that is where the challenge is. In China alone, there's about 66 MTA of capacity additions that have been announced. Again, everyone has their views. Our view is that roughly, because we risk adjust these, we do believe about 40 MTPA would come on stream because a lot of these have not yet reached FID. Some will not come. But if you compare it to the demand growth over there, this demand growth is nowhere close to the kind of capacity additions that we're talking about. And therefore, that leads to the challenge that we're seeing in the industry today. Right. So we've talked about that. Also talking about recycling ESG. I'll admit, if I would have been giving this maybe 2 years ago, the tone would have been a bit different. But as now things have evolved, we have a better view and a history of the last 2-3 years to look at how these things have performed. We say that even in the optimistic scenario, recycling is unlikely to significantly affect the growth of virgin demand. What you see over here, what we call as current trajectory and achieved commitments, these are scenarios that we model. Current trajectory is if we assume that the current growth rate continues. Achieved commitments is when we say that the countries that have announced certain commitments of net zero by 2050, 2060, so on and so forth, if those commitments are achieved, which is, to be honest, in question, if that is achieved, even in that case, what percentage of the virgin demand will actually be replaced? It's not that significant. So the demand-wise, it's there. Recycling is not going to disrupt. However, the growth rates, as you will see, the growth rates of those technologies are significantly higher than the growth rates that you would see on the virgin side. So uncertainties, I think I've kept the first half of my presentation about uncertainties. Let's switch gears now. Opportunities, because if I go back to the topic, there's uncertainties, but how do we capture value? In this environment, there are still certain opportunities, and this is what we've been discussing with our clients on a daily basis. For some a particular point is more relevant than the other, especially also on the end-use segment. But if I break it down into what the opportunities are, first and foremost, maximize the value from AI. As I said, table stakes. Low capex, not something that we have to put billions of dollars in. The cost is becoming even lower by the day, by the month. And we're also looking at, and this I'm borrowing this term from one of my clients in the region, where they talk of democratizing AI. It's not about one elite team doing it, but how do you empower everyone? How do you empower the field's engineers to be able to drive the improvements over there? There are proven use cases. I'll talk about that. Focus on growth markets. Structural demand growth still exists. There are regions, there are end-use markets, there are product groups. We need to go targeted, surgical strikes of where the growth is, and there are still pockets of opportunity. Getting that map right is going to be is ideal over here. Focus on innovation. And I'll talk about this in a subsequent page. There are new multi-billion-dollar value pools that are going to come up, primarily driven by new low-carbon products. And those value pools is where new potential profit is going to be coming from. Feedstock diversification. We've talked about the uncertainty side of geopolitics, but there is an opportunity. And I know the recent press announcements, many of the logos over there, they've already talked about bringing in natural gas from the US. But we're essentially saying that be it a refinery, be it a chemical, there is going to be a change in the feedstock landscape. And feedstock is a huge driver of profitability in the sector that we're talking about. And lastly, I go in the order of table stakes to more complexity, M&A, inorganic moves. In this region itself, we saw Shell exiting in Bukom and a regional player coming in to acquire. The fact is, the ratios, the PE multiples are at an all-time low. If you've got the money and you do believe in the long-term outlook for the industry, it's a good time to buy. But obviously, depending on what the ability and the outlook is. But at this point, if I just put it loosely, it's cheaper to buy than to build. So therefore, if one is looking for growth, actually, it may be better to buy. So let me go through some of these. Right now, let me start with AI. I think it's a dense page. I'll not go through everything. But in the last 5-10 years itself, a lot has changed. We've gone from what was earlier limited computational capabilities to now enhanced computational capabilities. I know some of my clients in the region are already talking about having scale that is not something that we would have thought of in an energy company 4 years ago in terms of computing power, in terms of running algorithms for trading, which were only considered with high-end traders earlier. Cybersecurity vulnerabilities, we've seen those vulnerabilities. It still is, to be honest, but we have we've got better confidence in them. And if I just go straight in terms of the kind of value, what we've seen is across, and I take a refining petrochemical example, about $0.50 per barrel is what we've seen that could be enhanced through these kind of AI-based initiatives. Now, where does that value, when I talk of half a dollar per barrel, and that's an average. In some cases, it may be 10 cents. In some cases, we've even seen an 80 cents coming from these kind of moves. But if I go next, it's okay, there's a bit of lag. We've mapped the areas, and this is based on our experience. I think we double click. Yeah, our experience of working in the sector. What are those areas, and what is a typical impact? Okay. And we've taken this from left to right, you see, from operations, maintenance, supply chain, procurement, commercial. Not all is applicable to every company, not everything, but it's sort of like the chessboard where you need to see your moves, to see what is applicable most to you and how much of that value are you able to capture versus the typical that we see across the industry. And this is the kind of starting point that we see that people should be using to then think about where to play and how much to actually expect in terms of those efforts. Moving further, if I go, we talked about opportunities, growth. Regions, key markets, product groups, and this is 23 to 28 CAGR. But there are clear areas. And the interesting part is if you look at the top left, Southeast Asia, we are actually sitting in the region where we actually have the endowment of growth still being there. The conversations are very different for companies that are sitting in Western Europe versus the conversations where growth is still a topic that we're talking about. There is obviously a next level after this. I mean, just saying fibers is very wide. There's also grades, qualities within that, but at a category level, there are still areas where the growth rates are significantly higher versus the other areas. Adding some more color. So then I talked about new value pools. We went through this as an exercise internally about a year or maybe 2 years ago, wherein we said, if we look at the applications, what are the innovations required and what would be the market sizes or the value pools created by those innovations? We looked at it from packaging, apparel, consumer. These are the various areas wherein the chemical industry is typically supplying. And what you see over here is the kind of markets that we think will be generated by 2030. Maybe just bringing it to life as one example. Here is an apparel and footwear example. On the left-hand side is today. So you have a cost-driven, fast fashion, functional clothing, athleisure. But then we say future requirements where there's sustainability-driven, recycled, refurbished, regenerative fashion, traceable materials, low energy curing during assembly, and what that would mean. So, I'll just maybe in the interest of time pick 1 or 2 examples. Going from a simple adhesive, we now want to talk about a selectively debondable, low energy curing adhesive. From, abrasion-resistant sole, which was there, now we're talking about recyclable monomaterial sole. So these are the kind of changes that are coming up, and this is just one example. There are more, and that's where opportunities need to still be investigated, right? Electrification, which is a great mix of uncertainty and opportunity. We looked at certain vehicles. We took a sample size of certain more popular vehicles, and we said, what is the kilogram per vehicle required in an ICE, the internal combustion engine, versus a BEV? And what you see is that as you go from the ICE to the BEV, the average requirement, which was lost from ICE and new required, actually it's a bit lower. But the opportunity created is that the new ones that are coming in are a higher value and a more premium, higher margin. So that kind of shift is what we're going through. And in Thailand, we are actually championing the effort of moving to electrification in the region, but working closer and closer with the end customers, working on those innovations. Technology partnerships with those who have those is going to be a key differentiator between those who win versus those who don't. And I know I have to wrap up. Maybe I'll come with this in the last. And I said, going from low complexity to high complexity, least expensive to most expensive. So let's talk about M&A. This is for refineries. And I know when I talk over here, it's not everyone coming from a refinery background. But what you see over here is a chart wherein we have not taken the cost of a transaction in dollar per barrel and normalized to the Nelson Complexity Index. And you clearly see that the cost that you would pay per KBD of buying an asset has come down. And this is adjusted for Nelson Complexity Index. Obviously, there are some inaccuracies or it's not very precise to take Nelson Complexity Index, but that's the nearest to normalize it. It's clearly, and this chart ends at 2022. If you extrapolate it, I'm certain it's basically going down. I personally myself have been involved in 2 of these transactions in the region in the last few years. So it is a good time to buy if that is in line with the strategic aspirations. So to sum it up, we do have an era where there is uncertainty, the downturn, which is something that the industry has never seen before. But at the same time, there are pockets of opportunities, and it will be the ability to exercise those opportunities, those areas, that's really going to differentiate how we fare at the end and how we come out at the end of this down cycle. And with that, I think I'm right on time. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Surachai. Any question from the floor? We can have only one question, and then the rest will be later on that he can answer to us. Okay, you raise a hand there, please. Again, please. You right? Okay. Can you raise the hand again one more time? Okay. If not, I have only one question. You mentioned about the opportunities that we should focus on innovation and the new low carbon products and the chemicals, which is normally everyone going toward that way. And also you mentioned in your slide that the growth for the world is in Southeast Asia and China. So that the combined opportunity and the growth is that this area would be the one that we will going toward the uncertainty on that.
Broadly, yes. I think if I were to say prioritize region and prioritize a direction, that is yes. But it is important to also admit that we're right now talking at a level of chemicals, which is very wide. The nuances may be very different if we're talking agrochemicals versus when we're talking a polyethylene versus something else. But directionally, yes. I think what we need to look for in terms of drivers is where the market is growing regionally, where the applications are going to give us a premium, and driven by end customer demand. It's going to give us premium, as well as where there's a technology barrier that today the differentiation exists, but it will exist even a few years later, because we've also seen this with ESG and other similar materials. What is novel today becomes mass within 2-3 years. So the investments need to be very thought through. But yes, you're right. Directionally, that's the direction to go for, but with some more checks to happen further from there.
So thank you very much. Okay, please give the right approach to the Dr. Surachai. So let's come to the. Right now we have 3 plenary speakers that give the insightful information for us. I would like to, give a round of appreciation to them, and I would like to invite Professor Vivat Tanta Panichakun, the chairman of the TNChE Asia 2025 organizing committee, to give a token of appreciation. The first one, give it to Dr. Surachai, please. And once after that, please remain on the stage. Okay, Prof.Aika. Mr.Kshitij, Dua. Okay, please remain on the stage.
And now I would like to invite Professor Thamrongrat Mungcharan on the stage, please, and receive the token of appreciation from Professor Emeritus Vivat Tanta Panichakun. Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for our session chair. Thank you so much. And now I request one group photo, please. ขอถ่ายภาพรวมนะคะ เดี๋ยวขออนุญาตให้ทางทีมงานของเราจัดตำแหน่งเล็กน้อยนะคะ We need to adjust the position for the perfect photo that will capture the most memorable moments. Thank you so much. And after this camera, we have the back camera as well. ขออนุญาตมองกล้องข้างหลังหน่อยนะคะ เรียบร้อยนะคะ ขอบพระคุณค่ะ Thank you so much ขอเสียงปรบมือด้วยค่ะ And that's done nicely with our first session of the day. Let's get back to what we have for all the participants. Ladies and gentlemen, before we break lunch, I would like to share some special highlights of the event that we would not want you to miss. Each evening after the day's session conclude, we will have a fun activity through Kahoot game with special souvenir from TNChE and also on the evening of May 20 and 21st, starting from 5 until 6:30. Please join us for the evening exhibit happy hour at Napalai ABC, where TNChE will be serving complimentary snack and beverages.
ก่อนที่เราจะรับประทานอาหารกลางวันผมขอแจ้งความพิเศษของงาน TNChE Asia 2025 ที่ไม่อยากให้ทุกคนพลาดครับในช่วงเย็นของทุกวันหลังจบเซสชั่นทั้งหมดแล้วเราจะมีกิจกรรมพิเศษผ่าน Kahoot พร้อมรับของที่ระลึกจากสมาคม TNChE ครับและในช่วงเย็นของวันที่ 20 และ 21 พฤษภาคมระหว่าง 17 นาฬิกาถึง 18 นาฬิกา 30 นาทีจะมีช่วง Evening Exhibit Happy Hour ที่ห้องนภาลัย ABC โดยสมาคม TNChE ได้จัดเตรียมอาหารว่างและเครื่องดื่มมาให้ทุกท่านด้วยครับ
And furthermore, on May 22nd from 9 until 3 in the afternoon in the sit room 1, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a special tutorial exclusively for TNChE Asia 2025 participants. And this session will be delivered by Mr. Roger Newham, Fellow of the Institute of Mechanical Engineers and Technical Director at OnCase Canada, Calgary. He will be presented on the topic of enhanced heater operation and improve the efficiency in direct fire heater and furnaces.
ครับในวันที่ 22 พฤษภาคมระหว่างเวลา 9 นาฬิกาถึง 15 นาฬิกาห้องดูสิต 1 จะมี Special Tutorial โดยเฉพาะสำหรับผู้ร่วมงาน TNChE Asia 2025 โดย Roger R. Newham ปัจจุบันดำรงตำแหน่ง Fellow of Institute of Mechanical Engineers ประเทศอังกฤษและ Technical Director on Quest ประเทศแคนาดาซึ่งจะมาบรรยายเรื่อง Enhance Heater Operation and Improve the Efficiency in Direct Fire Heaters and Furnace ครับ
Yes, and now for lunch, may I invite everyone to proceed yourself to the Cascade and Atrium room. The staff will help you with the location and please kindly return to the conference room by 1:30. I repeat again at 1:30. So this afternoon, this conference session will be divided into room Napalai D and Napalai East, and you can check about the detailed schedule on the program board located at the outside room. And if you are looking for an exhibitor booth, please refer to the directory board outside as well. For now, we need to thank you very much.
สำหรับอาหารกลางวันขอเรียนเชิญทุกท่านรับประทานอาหารที่ห้อง The Cascade และห้องอาหาร Atrium ทางด้านหน้าของโรงแรมครับและขอเรียนเชิญทุกท่านกลับมาที่ห้องประชุมเวลา 13:30 นาทีซึ่งห้องประชุมจะถูกแบ่งออกเป็น2ห้องนะครับก็คือห้องนภาลัยดีและห้องนภาลัย E ครับสามารถดูกำหนดการได้จากโปรแกรมบอร์ดด้านนอกห้องครับขอบคุณทุกท่านครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ